I didn't have. It felt. I'm gonna back up here. You're gonna edit this part out. All right. This is the second episode of the Ponderland Podcast, and we're here, and we have a lot to talk about. I guess something happened. I'm Jordan. I'm just going to introduce myself and introduce you over to the two lovely people on the other side of my screen that I'm looking at here. We have, who do we got here?
It's Joe, and then we're joined today by our third member,
Michelle.
Michelle, woohoo. Welcome to the Ponderland Podcast. And so we are the Happy Place Explorers. We're a brand new YouTube channel, and you know this because you're probably watching us on that YouTube channel. And so we're very excited that you're here. And earlier this week, when I'm trying to promote the channel to the people I work with, I'm saying, hey, you got to check out this new Disneyland channel. It's called Happy Place Explorers. And he looked at me and he went, why is it called that?
That's valid.
It's so obvious to me why it would be called Happy Place Explorers. And so I feel like just to eliminate the confusion of those who may not know why we call ourselves the Happy Place Explorers, we have to go all the way back to 1955 and remember Walt Disney's opening day dedication of Disneyland. And what did he say? Do you guys know what he said?
Welcome all to this happy place.
It's a variation of that.
It's part of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like those words. It's like those words in a rearranged form.
Yeah.
How would you put it? Joey? This is the test.
Is it to all who come to this happy place, welcome?
Yeah.
That's right.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
And there's a whole nother dedication speech that follows, but we focus in on that first sentence there. The happy place is Disneyland. That's our happy place. And so we're excited to be in Disneyland and exploring Disneyland and all the other happy places around the main happy place. So just getting that, that's the reason, that's who we are. That's the core of our beings can be found.
You explain that really well, actually.
In the happy place, yeah. So I know we got a lot to talk about. Something happened this weekend. I'm not sure. I was just sitting here in my lazy boy recliner doing nothing, but no. I was watching you guys and watching the updates that were coming in. What happened this weekend? Just briefly, before we dive into it.
So we went to opening day, opening hour of Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. We were there, the first group, 8 a.m. to noon. And there was a lot, and there's a lot to kind of unpack, and it was exciting to go live, and there were people watching us, interacting with us, asking questions, which was great. It was fun to experience it live with them, and there was a lot that I didn't know what to expect, just like the viewers, so I feel like after being there, I have a better idea of the land, the layout, what you can do, what you can get, what to see, and I think we should cover all that today.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, but first, I want to ask, how was the Tiki Room on Galaxy's Edge Day? Because you guys went and did the Tiki Room, right?
You know, that's the only thing we didn't do.
Yeah, we didn't do
that. Oh, man.
It was...
Then you did not have a complete day.
It was so slow. Like, for a park that was supposed to reach capacity and was supposed to be a nightmare, like, Disney did a great job scaring everyone away, because if you weren't in Galaxy's Edge, no one was in the park. We went on, like, everything 2 or 3 times in both parks.
That's
Granted,
awesome.
we used the Fast Pass.
Max Pass.
The Max Pass. We do use that, but still, it was, even the regular lines the waits were really low.
See, I wonder if that has to do with just like, I don't have a reservation, but since I can't go to Star Wars, what's the point in going to Disneyland at all?
I guess.
Part of me was wondering
Maybe.
if people wanted to avoid the Star Wars craziness.
That too.
Yeah.
And so I was hearing from a few different sources, but that everyone was clamoring to be the first ones in and trying to be there in the morning. But there were people still getting reservations for the evening blocks.
That first day?
That's what I read. and it was on the internet. So take that with a Kyber-sized grain of salt.
Well, I didn't hear anything about that, but I'll certainly, after we record this, I'll look into that because that's interesting. I mean, everyone was expecting it to be crazy. So there were people lined up outside of the park at 2 a.m. when they said that they were originally going to do it. And if you had the reservation, you couldn't enter the park until 6. So the people that were lined up at 2 were all there for opening day merchandise. And so we get there right around 6:15ish, go in, you walk through the main gates, they have people directing you the whole way, and you get over to Tomorrowland, you go to Star Wars Launch Bay.
They actually directed us the side way. If you walk past
Like the
Moments
parade
with Mr. Lincoln, they opened up that side.
Oh, like
gate.
when the parades are going on, the backstage spot.
Yeah, we didn't walk down Main Street to get to Tomorrowland.
Okay.
So you go through that, they get you over to Tomorrowland, you get in the launch bay, and that was the first time that there was a line for us at like 6:30. And even that line was like, I don't know, 15 minutes or
maybe.
less. And they were just pumping people through. And so all of a sudden, basically what I'm getting at is like all these people were there waiting at 2 a.m. to get this merchandise thinking it was going to be nuts. And it was never nuts, ever. Like the busiest it was, and we'll have video of it, the busiest it was right when we were getting in. They held you right at like Tomorrowland Terrace.
Okay.
And so you were there with like a big mass of people. Like the group couldn't go past Matterhorn. And so at 7:45 they started to walk us over. And that was the biggest challenge, was just moving with that mass. But literally, otherwise, it was just like, there was nothing all day. I mean, once you got into the land, it was a little busy for the first 30 minutes while everyone got settled in. But once you got through that and kind of found your place with wherever you were going to go first, that it like died down completely. And
so
then
just had that initial rush, and then everything. I was sort of tuned into the app, and it seemed like everything was, at least the only thing that they showed, but everything seemed to be pretty manageable, even within that window.
Yeah, there's a few things we can talk about once we get over the actual game plan of how like the reservation works. We can get into that, but because the reservation windows were excellent. The only challenge is the overlap. Each time an overlap happens, the park it booms. I think it's because everyone freaks out, thinking like, oh, the lines are so long. And like all of a sudden it goes from Millennium Falcon will have a 15-minute wait, the majority of your wait time, and then you reach an overlap period and it jumps to almost 2 hours.
Yikes.
And then they move. I cannot express how fast they move you through Falcon.
Yeah.
Like the line it's exactly like Indiana Jones, where you're constantly moving. Was there even a back and forth queue?
Not when we went, but I wonder if it would have been different when the park first opened and everyone went to Millennium Falcon.
Okay, because it was weird. It was really weird. It was like the queue's reasonably long to handle a large amount of people, but it certainly never felt like we were going through like a turnstile back and forth. And
it seems like there's always something engaging as whether it just be different views of the Falcon or amazing animatronics or.
Well, they have a whole. I mean, even the whole opening, and maybe we should preface this with, if you don't want to know anything about Galaxy's Edge, there'll be a lot of spoilers to follow. We won't ruin anything, but we'll have some description here. So, when you walk through Smuggler's Run entrance, you kind of go through like a cavernous area, and it kind of wraps around the back of the Falcon. So you're like looking up at the Falcon, and that's cool to begin with. But all of a sudden, you sort of go into almost like a ship repair shop. And you're like walking on like catwalks and stuff around like kind of a beat up looking ship, and they have workers that are coming over the intercoms, kind of talking to each other and like reporting in. And it's like totally themed, and you just keep walking around. They just make sure that you keep walking around the Falcon, so you always sort of see it. And then all of a sudden, then you get to the animatronic room. So all of a sudden, you've got Hondo talking to you about the mission. They set up Chewie, it goes into all that good stuff.
So is it like just being in that room with the animatronic? Like, it looks good on video, but actually being in the room, what are your impressions of that?
What we will say is it looks so realistic that one of the friends we were there with said, wow, that must be really hard for that actor to keep saying those lines over and over and staying up there, and we had to tell our friend, like, that's an animatronic, that's not an actor. And our friend was like, oh, really? Like, they thought that it was an actual person. So that's how good the animatronic is.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was like a drop moment for all of us. I didn't know how to respond right away.
Yeah.
I was like...
So it's good.
Because yeah, it's great.
That's why they have animatronics, is because it was really challenging for Walt Disney in 1964 to employ all those children for the It's a Small World ride. And Disney's like, just screw this, let's just make our own. And animatronics. So, I mean, she's got the right roots. It just sort of sprouted into Hondo Anaka today. So,
no. So we'll trace it all back to employing children at Disneyland. It just became too much.
Just didn't work. So you're so you leave Onaka's room. Then what happens?
And then they, the door opens up. You go into the next area, and there's a little bit of a walkway again. But then at the end of that walkway, you get handed cards. They're kind of like cardboard. I mean, thick cardboard. Yeah. They're sturdy. Mm-hmm. You're either part of like the red group or the blue group. And there's 2 cards that say pilot, there's 2 cards that say gunner, and there's 2 cards that say engineer. And whatever card you get, that is the role that you're playing inside the Millennium Falcon. Okay. And there's 6 in total, so there's 6 seats. So if you're a group of 3, they're most likely going to put you with another group of 3. I think you said that the ride can run with just 4?
Yeah, apparently, we didn't see this while we were there, but apparently they can run it with... you can run it without all of the positions.
Okay.
Like they can choose to just switch the positions essentially to auto. Yeah. But yeah.
There's going to be someone like years from now at 11:30 p.m. on a Thursday night, and this guy's just going to be like, I want to ride Falcon, and he's going to be the only one in that cockpit trying to get this coaxium to off Corellia or wherever it is.
You bring up a really good point, though, because I don't know if you could do it without a second pilot.
Yeah.
So the way that you fly the ship, and we weren't pilots, but the way that you fly the ship is the person in the left pilot seat is in charge of going left and right, and the person in the right pilot seat is in charge of going up and down. And so... Yeah, and so I don't know what you would do if it was just one.
Just like... stretch.
So reaching over all the time?
And what we do need to say that our friend also didn't know is the up and down. If you think about it, if you move the handle down, the ship is going to go up.
It's like joystick controls.
Yeah, if you move it up, the ship's going to go down. Well, our friend didn't catch on to that immediately.
I mean, for what it's worth, we didn't realize it either for a long time before, because it was labeled as down. It had a down arrow for down and an up arrow for up for the respective positions. So it was kind of marked wrong. It's slightly confusing. But yeah, if you
don't really get practice time, you are just thrown right in. So you have to learn.
You're in there, you get buckled in, and you go.
I mean, if we had any sort of gripe, and it's not a gripe, but really a complaint at all, it was you get into the waiting area with the booth and everything and the chessboard, and everyone's taking pictures and stuff in there, and so you want to get a picture. Both times we went through, we had 15 seconds in there.
They're like, all right.
Green team ready to go.
And we're like,
okay. I assumed, and people were in there for longer, way longer than we were in there for. I don't know how it works. I don't know how that works, but
that's the most interesting part of the line for me is that there is just this part where you're no longer in the line. You can explore, and so what was it like getting on the Falcon? It just seems like every detail is exact.
You walk in, it's like an aisle down to the front of the Falcon, the window, and then there's 2 seats for the engineers, and then the 2 seats for the gunners, and then the 2 seats for the pilots. And when you sit down, I mean, the whole interior of the Millennium Falcon is different buttons and switches, and they're pretty interactive. You can flip switches, press buttons. I don't know, we weren't pilots, so we didn't see the piloting part close up, but
But yeah, they do have. I mean, they had a hyperspace like lever that you pull down if you're a pilot
Okay.
up front. The gunners had. Did you already say the gunners had like a gun switch?
Yeah, so the only thing that I thought was a little bit strange is the buttons for the gunner. Everything's on the wall next to you. So when I was thinking, like, the gunner, you would have something like maybe
shoot,
like a joystick
yeah.
in front of you or not. But no, it's buttons on the wall. So that's probably one of the only, I guess if we're using the word gripes that I would have is I wanted to make sure I was doing my job correctly. So I was watching whatever button lit up, that's what you had to hit.
But you
So I
gotta
didn't really
take
get
your
to see
attention
much of what
away.
was on the screen.
Yeah.
But we did hear that for the gunner, there's an option to go automatic or manual. And I'm assuming automatic might just be a little bit easier, like hitting the same
okay.
button, where manual might be a little bit more intricate.
Yeah, and that's what I was missing because in the positions we did, so half our group did pilots. Some of our so we did all of them. You were a gunner. I was an engineer twice, but then the other half of our group were pilots, and so we went on it twice. We should say that. Yeah, we went on it twice. And,
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah. But so we went on it twice. But from just our experience, we learned, at least in my opinion, gunner was the least exciting.
So is that second row or third row?
Second. And then engineer was in back, who I was twice. And I always thought engineer would have been the lamest one. But I had the most fun. I hadn't piloted it yet, but engineering was awesome. Because you can be a heckler and also feel responsibility. So as like... Because we had issues with our pilots on both runs. Yeah. Because we had issues with our pilots on both runs. And so I'm just in back, and every time we're like slamming into a rock, or like at one point we were literally skidding across the ground like Rey does in Force Awakens, which was awesome. But like the engineer has a bunch of buttons that pop up all of a sudden, like little random buttons all over the place that I have to hit to kind of restore the Falcon to health. At one point, like my screen was literally flashing critical health. I'm just screaming
And
up
we're in
front.
the back, we're screaming, pull up, pull up!
It's so good. But I mean, there's something really satisfying about even from the back, like yelling, punch it.
Oh, that's
and
thrilling.
then just seeing the stars, like,
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
So, what I've heard before going into this is that how you perform in that ride affects how you're treated in the land. Did you see anything like that, or how that might be interworked later?
No, I didn't see that.
Okay.
But one thing that I did get to see, I got to see that they didn't see, because I went off on my own, that there was a little show in the, what is that, the First Order area.
Oh.
And there was 2 stormtroopers and then a First Order officer. And then Kylo Ren came out of one of the ships and used the Force on one of the First Order officers. And they were talking about they needed to go search for the Rebel spy or some sort of spy or something. And then they went off the stage and started walking throughout the land. I didn't follow them, so I don't know if that was actually a thing.
Okay.
But I did see that.
Mm-hmm. You do get a score at the end of Smuggler's Run that equates to credits.
Okay.
So like galactic credits. But to be honest, and maybe it's just because the 4-hour time periods right now, it's not quite working the way that it'll eventually exist. But no, I didn't see anything. I mean, we didn't get to go in the cantina, and that's like where they talked about how like somebody might be like, oh, you owe some money to Hondo, or something like that. And yeah, we didn't get to go to the cantina, but I haven't heard from anybody how that has happened yet in the land. So I don't think they're implementing it yet.
And I think one thing that's important to point out, going back to when they hand you the cards to tell you what position you are in the Millennium Falcon, if you're in a group of 6, you can change those between everyone in your group. It's not set in stone just because they hand it to you. Mm-hmm. And we were just there with 4 people, and there was a group of 2 behind us, and they started talking to us. They said, oh, we really want to be gunners. Have you guys been gunners already? And we said, yeah, we have. We really want to be pilots. And they said, oh, we've been pilots already. So then we just kind of were like, well, we're going to be a group of 6 now. And then we just traded cards so that we all got the positions that we wanted, which was really nice.
Mm-hmm. It is, that whole thing is really interesting. I thought for a long time it would be kind of like Disney would be like, all right, 6 dots over here. And, you sort of among yourself decide what position you're going to do. and like the first 6 in decide. But it is randomized. They like the cast member shuffles up the cards and then goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's no actual order. Like, and that's the best way to do it because you can't fight over the position.
That's how real airfare is like. I just flip the coin.
You said here.
Probably not. Just wanted to say this episode is brought to you by American Airlines, and they get you places.
We are not sponsored by American Airlines.
Yet. Is it Star Tours-esque in that it's a different mission, or?
So, allegedly, it's going to be that way. There's supposed to be 3 missions, but it sounds like, based on all the cast member previews and our experience, it's just 1 mission right now. Okay. It's a train heist. And so, that's the big... I mean, we did that twice in a row. So, unless we, unfortunately, got 2 of the same one. But we did it back-to-back, so there's just no way.
Okay, yeah.
Side note, what I thought was really cool is we went on Star Tours after we were done in Star Wars Land, and the tour that we went on ended in Bed 2.
Yep.
Awesome.
And seeing it in Star Tours, I was like, oh my gosh, that's where we just were. It looks identical to the land.
Awesome.
It was so cool.
Yeah, it's cool because it's like we've been looking at this concept art for so long, but it looks, the concept art is identical to what they produced.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is.
What was the number 1 highlight for you of Smuggler's Run? Sell it to me in a sentence.
Yelling at the pilots.
Yeah, it's the group atmosphere. I mean, I wonder how that works for everybody, because I'm sure some people don't like that pressure of somebody yelling at them from behind. But if you're with a good
especially when you're struggling.
But if you're with but if you're with a good group, so if you can actually go with a group of friends, it's a blast because you're just like screaming at each other. But if you're with a group of like one person, if the one dude, the single rider's in back with the group of 5 and he's just screaming at the pilot, I can't imagine that'd be very fun for everybody.
Yeah.
But man, that was one of the best parts was when our friends were the pilots and just like screaming up front, like down is up, down is up. It was good. That was my favorite part. Well, no, that was your favorite part.
That was my favorite part.
I guess that was my favorite part too. The physical ride was the best part. I was less impressed. The Falcon's massive and seeing it is cool, but I didn't get emotional, and I thought I would. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's wild seeing it in real life." And maybe it's just because the 4 hours made such pressure, and I was like constantly like, "Oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that." And I think maybe that hurt that because I didn't have any time to actually take in the Falcon. I saw it a million times. I went past it a bunch of times, but I would never like just stop to like stare at it and like really stare at it because there's just so little time to do everything. I mean, we barely did the marketplace at the end of the thing because it was like we had 15 minutes to like kind of run through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Falcon was definitely the physical ride was awesome.
Cool.
And I'll say if you're going, you don't need to rush to it and do it right away. That's, I think, the biggest takeaway is when we entered the land. Yeah, everyone rushes to it, and it immediately was at least a 70-minute wait. Where we went over to Savvis' workshop to do the lightsaber experience, and I think we went over to Smuggler's Run at like 10 o'clock, and at that point we were able to just walk on the ride, and then we went on a second time and we were able to walk right on the ride. So I would definitely recommend holding that off until later in your stay at the land.
Yeah, if you are in one of the first periods to go in or the last periods to go in and you only have one overlap period, once everyone kind of settles into their initial lines, Falcon never gets longer than 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And even then, she's right, we literally went on twice in a row right before our time period. The only thing we should note, and this is important, is that they mark your wristband when you go on Falcon. You can go on it as... Yeah, she's got it right there.
I haven't taken it off.
No, still holding it.
Yeah. You can go on it as many times as you want to in your time period, but as it gets sooner and sooner to the overlap, so 11 o'clock, they start to be like, if you've already ridden once, which is what the mark's for, you can't go back in line. That being said, if you would wait until 11 o'clock and you hadn't ridden it yet, you can go on it as long as you don't have the mark.
Okay.
So it's like you just have to plan out your day that way. That means you could say Falcon all the way through the end and choose to wait in the line for a long time, and you would probably stay past your reservation period. But you can go on over and over again if you go in the second or third little bit. It's wild. I thought it was
Very
going to be so
cool.
bad, and it was not.
Yeah.
But the coolest thing we did, Michelle already kind of mentioned it, was the Savvis workshop, the lightsaber
That's right.
experience. Unreal.
So, for me, it just seems like I know it's not, so I need you to clarify this, but it's like, okay, let's go spend $200 on a lightsaber. And that part makes me go, you know what? I'm going to go ride the Smuggler's Run a third time, and if they kick me out, I'm just going to go over to Tiki Room. So, first question, is it worth that price tag?
I will say, from my perspective being, we do not need to spend $200 on a lightsaber. After going into the experience with him, because we were going to spend $200 on a lightsaber. For someone who is very much a big fan of Star Wars, I think it is absolutely worth it. The ambiance and everything in there, it was very magical.
I know this is out there because a lot of people have experienced it now, but it like the people that call it a show is 100% correct.
Yes.
It's a show.
It is.
You're paying $200 to get a lightsaber with all of the accessories, so the blade, because that's a big thing to remember. Is like you can get like the hilt inside the gift shop, but if you don't have the blade or anything, that's an additional like $40 or $50. If you don't have the carrying case, that's an additional price. You get all of that included with it. So it's $200, but you're getting your stuff. But the show is nuts. I've never felt like a kid that much. And everyone, like, how everyone was talking about emotional stuff, I didn't, like, tear up bad, but I definitely felt like a lump in my throat just for a second.
Yeah.
Because the themes that they use, the music that they use, I think I said out loud at one point, wow, when, like, the Force theme started. Because it's unreal how wild it is. And it's so intimate. There's, like, maybe 10 people. I mean, there's
Probably 15 to 20, and you're standing around this, like, oval... I don't know.
it's just
Like
like a
getting
workshop
initiated
table.
almost.
Yeah. And so, like, you're in there, and she's right. It's like there's probably like 15 to 20 builders, and then each builder can have a +1.
Yeah.
And so you're in there, and you're just kind of like standing and like looking at stuff, and they bring over. You pick out your lightsaber, like the category of lightsaber you're doing before you go in.
Okay.
Yeah, while you're standing in line, we went live with that. That's when the woman came over and was like, here's the different styles. Which one do you want to pick? You have to make that decision before you go in.
And it's intimidating because you're spending $200 on something that you can't
wanna
actually
screw
physically
up.
see. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like scary to be like, well, I guess I'm picking this one because you can't just jump between all the different factions.
Mm-mm.
You have to choose one faction, and then you have categories inside of your faction to build. So you can't be like, I'm going to build one piece from this faction, one piece from this faction. It doesn't work that way.
Sure.
So like there was high stakes
Yeah.
right away, and it made me like even more anxious.
And you get a pin.
Yeah. Oh, they give you a little pin that designates
Why
your
didn't you
faction.
start with that?
They give you it's cool too. They give you like a nice metal pin that designates your faction, and that's how the workers know to give you the right pieces of materials. And then it's once you get inside. We waited. That's the longest thing we waited for that day. It was about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours.
Definitely.
We took turns kind of wandering around and everything, so at least we could experience the land. But yeah, we waited a long time. But man, once you get in, it's just like it's a 20-minute experience. You really feel like you're building it. Oh, it's wild. We recorded the whole thing, so there'll be a video shortly about just with the entire experience from beginning to end. So you can see it. That being said, I will say, I mean, as much as we love your views, if you can do it yourself and you know you're going and you know that you want to do it, don't watch
any videos.
Yeah.
Don't watch
online.
any videos. Go because I had no idea what I was going to experience before I went in. And it was easily the best thing I've ever done it's the best thing I've ever done at Disneyland. Either of the
Wow.
parks.
Yeah.
And it's hard to imagine that you pay for a park ticket and then also for a $200 lightsaber, and somehow it's still worth it.
Well, that's a good review for that. I just don't know what I would do with a lightsaber.
Well, I'm gonna go get mine.
Okay.
We're not gonna dive too much off it. You can keep talking to Michelle about it, but I'm gonna go get it.
Yeah, I was telling you, if I could not make it in a Star Wars universe. If they was handing me, I'm fresh out of Padawan school, they hand me a lightsaber, I'm not going to know what to do. I'm going to cut my face off. I can't handle the stress of owning a lightsaber. I am just if I'm in the Star Wars universe, I'm content just hawking power converters down at Tashi Station. I think that is the life for me in a Star Wars universe. I don't have a dog in the Rebel fight. I don't have the First Order does what it does. Who am I? I'm just one person.
So here is, we're calling it Shadowheart.
No.
Little emo, but
No,
it's what it is.
It is Shadowheart.
But look at the some of the detail. I know it's a little hard. It's giant. First of all, look at the blade. It's like, oh, we don't have anything. All right. But look, like there's a leather-ish bound, and I know it kind of looks plastic. It's really hard to sell on video. But it's like so heavy. It's heavy metal.
Yeah.
So it's well built.
And every piece, yes. And like even this has like a leatherish feel to it. This is a wood engraved like feeling metal thing up here.
Okay.
It has all these different like accents on it. You can see all the different like carved lines and stuff.
What is that white thing that's sticking out of it though?
Oh, the blade. So this is the physical. blade.
So it's not like an actual lightsaber from the movie, because usually it's just like an empty space, and then when you.
Well,
Wow! Now
So
it looks screen legit.
So you can take it out. So what's cool is like, so this is the blade, whatever, it is what it is. But, so you can have it like this, but it has all these sorts of different sound effects. Like, for example, so now the blade's out, right? So you're like, well, if you're going to ignite it, it would cause an issue. But it'll misfire if there's nothing in, so it makes this sound.
That's awesome.
Yeah! So, and then as you put the blade in, it also makes a noise. So that's when it becomes activated, and then physically igniting it. It is
Shadowheart.
literally the cool. It is the coolest thing I've ever done at Disney, and it's just awesome. It's probably our most highly recommended thing.
Okay.
It would be my highest recommended thing to do at Disney.
If you can afford it and
yeah, it's a little
justify
expensive, but-
spending that money.
But you're saying you can justify it. At least once.
Well,
I think that is every person's prerogative.
it's important. This is, I guess, something we should talk. I mean, we'll talk about land management. That's what we'll kind of get into now. But the reality of it is, there's not. If you're going during the reservation period, it's a double-sided coin. I think it's the best time to go because lines were like really minimal. I think the land capacity is about 7,000, and it really was probably held to about 3,000 people in it at a time. So the land's at about half capacity. It didn't, besides when the lines were long or when an overlap period happened and two different groups of 3,000 were inside, it didn't feel ever like it was really crowded.
No. Like, initially, I know when we went live, someone was like, how's crowd control? And it was really hard for me to gauge it at that point because when we first entered, they made everyone go off to the right, and that's where the cantina is. And our first plan was to originally go to the cantina, but even by the time we got to that line, which we were in probably the first third of the entrance group, they had to shut down the line because it was already too long. So, I mean, you enter like sardines, but then once people started filtering out, figuring out the lay of the land, it did not feel crowded at all.
Okay, that's good. So what do you think it's going to look like on June 24th when there's no reservation
I don't
system?
know that I would go on June 24th.
I don't know either.
Because that's almost the
Because
first
when
authentic
there was
opening
the
day.
overlap,
Yeah.
when there was the overlap, so for us that was from 11 to 12, because they let the second group enter at 11, we still had an hour left in the land, then it started to get a little crowded.
Okay.
By a little, I think it was moderately crowded.
Yeah.
But were you like stressed out
it's
crowded?
hard.
Or was it was just like, okay, it's crowded, I need to get
Like
where I'm going?
agitated, crowded.
Okay.
Well, we were starting to get on our way. We were planning our last hour at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So we were I felt okay because I felt like we had done it. We had gotten the lightsaber already. We had been on Falcon twice by the time that got really
right.
long.
I feel like we had done
Yeah.
enough of our things, but if you remember the Falcon line at that point,
Yeah.
it was down around the corner, much longer
definitely
than it should have been.
It definitely ebbs with the reservation periods.
Yes.
But it might be different with when FastPass is also activated as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that'll make it better, though.
That's true.
For people that can get fast passes, it'll be better, but that standby line might get a little worse.
Do you think there are parts of the line that you didn't see?
Yes.
Probably, yeah. It just wasn't. I mean, we can't stress enough. We walked on both times. Yeah. So like we definitely walked through a bunch. I felt like we saw the elements that were pitched to us that I was told about and read about, but there has to be more room somewhere. Like there has to be an overflow somewhere, because there's no way they can allow it to do what it did in that 11 o'clock hour. Because it's hard to describe this to you without knowing the full layout of the land. But Falcon's at like one of the back corners, and it was stretched. It would have stretched around all the way back around, and probably would have been back towards Big Thunder Trail. So you're talking about exiting, like going out into.
Like if they wouldn't have wrapped the line, it would have gone straight out the entrance into Big Thunder Trail.
So there's got to be some capacity inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So maybe we didn't see something yet, because there's got to be overflow somewhere. But yeah, our experience was great. It gets that thing, and that's where we go back to, like, please don't go to Falcon right away.
Yeah.
Like, don't waste your time.
Yeah.
That line will not be long later. It will be a waste of your time.
It always died down like after the first hour.
Yeah. But obviously, from our review of the lightsabers, I would highly recommend going immediately to the lightsaber experience.
If you're going to do that.
It's a long line to begin with. We got in when we got in. So we're talking about like right at 8. We were probably in line for the lightsabers at 8:10, 8:15.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still an hour and a half for us. And the people that got in line behind us were told it was 2.5 hours. And I think they shut down that line too.
Oh, so you got in there just in time
it's like,
too.
yeah. It can get crazy. But once people sort of settle into a spot. So as long as you know you're going to do what you want to do, if you settle into a spot, Smuggler's Run always exists in the background and will always be available for you. So if you didn't get to do lightsabers and you don't get to do Cantina, that's like worst case scenario.
Have a backup plan.
But know that you can literally, if that's the case, starting at your second hour, just go on Falcon over and over and over again. Like, get the most out of your day. Because you'll be able to ride it 6 or 7 times in a row.
That's awesome. I'm going to ask you maybe an impolite question, but I genuinely would like to know. Did you go to the bathroom while you were at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge?
Yes, I went to both of them.
I went to one.
What was it like?
So, there is a bathroom right past the First Order area, and then there's a bathroom at the end of Black Spire Outpost. They are very well themed. I think they're pretty cool. At least for the women's bathroom, they were themed the same, because I thought maybe the First Order one would look different than the one in Black Spire Outpost, but they were pretty much the same. But yeah, they were themed really cool in there too. And it kind of reminded me of...
like an outhouse in Endor, or something a little different?
It was more like rugged. Like the sink was just one big trough that had a bunch of different faucets coming off of it. Like a cement trough.
And like exposed pipes and stuff.
Yeah, exposed pipes. And it reminded me of the bathrooms in Harry Potter Land at Universal here in Hollywood. That there was no music or anything, but there was just like clanking and
still
like
ambiance.
Noises. Yes.
Now, there was, I don't know about one of the women's one, but one of the men's restrooms had a Batu radio station. Like real immersion. So they were playing music, but they were playing, DJ Rex was the DJ. And so he was playing the tracks from the Cantina in the restroom over the speakers.
That works.
So all of a sudden Rex would come on and be like, hey, we're going to play one of my favorite songs.
While you go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I would never want to leave.
It's hard to describe. The word I used a lot while I was there, and I think the 4 hours is a big part of it, but it's like, it's overwhelming.
In a good way.
In a good way. But it's like overwhelming. There's just too much. There's too much to look at. There's too much. Like you no matter where you're looking, you feel like you're missing something. Mm-hmm. Like something's happening over there, but you're looking over here. But what you're looking at over here is just as good as what's happening over there. So it's like.
Could you go and spend almost
wild.
a full day in just Galaxy's Edge, or do you think that's stretching it? It'll probably be different after Rise of the Resistance, but today.
Sure.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I mean, I feel like at a certain... Well, I love Star Wars, so no, I would be there, able to be there all the time. But as a casual, if you're a casual fan or even just someone going for the experience, you might get sort of... It's a lot of shopping. Like, the majority of it is shopping.
Yeah.
And you might get a little bored, but you would definitely spend more than 4 hours there. Even if there were no waits. Like... Because my understanding is in the cantina, people were saying... I mean, 45 minutes was the limit. They kind of cut you off after 45 minutes. But people seem like they were having a blast listening to the music with DJ Rex and just sort of drinking around a bar environment. And then, I mean, the lightsaber thing's 20 minutes, so you factor that in. Falcon, you could do 3 or 4 times.
So once you're in the experiences, they go by pretty... They're manageable. Just depends on wait times.
Mm-hmm.
So it had good bathrooms, but... just general ambiance of the land. I know you said this on the live stream. There's no music really in Black Spire Outpost, but there is still ambiance. Like, there's still stuff going.
You would hear like blasters going off in the distance or like a ship going overhead. Oh, yeah. Like there was one point that I looked up because I thought there was like a helicopter above us or something, but then I noticed it was just like the ambiance noise.
They literally, like, they have sound design set up where, like, there's bass rumble when a ship flies over. And it's not there, but you, like, feel the ground shake as, like, something is flying over. And you're like, whoa.
That's awesome. Okay, so one of my final questions here is Blue Milk. Buy or sell? Is it a good hype? Is it worth the hype?
I think so. If you're going to go, you might as well get it. I believe it was a rice almond milk base, and it's... kind of like a Frappuccino blended drink consistency, and it's fruity.
Is it hot?
No, it's cold.
Okay, good.
I just said it's a blended drink.
Well, miracles can happen.
And the blue one, I couldn't really pinpoint the flavor of the blue one.
It's kind of bubblegummy.
Kind of. And then the green one definitely was more tropically like passion fruit, but I preferred the blue one.
Blue one was way better, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the blue milk that's in A New Hope in Star Wars probably tastes like milk.
You never know.
There's probably no fruity accents.
I think
we know what it tastes like. Yeah, we know what it tastes like. We had it.
We've had it.
Fair enough. That's tough but fair. No, you're right. You're 100% right. Blue milk has fruity accents. Did you eat anything else while you were there?
We didn't get to go to the main... We walked through this main sit-down restaurant, or like the fast service restaurant, but we didn't eat at it. There just wasn't enough time. But we did go to Ronto's...
Docking Bay 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But we did go to Ronto's Roasters, the like kind of pod racing engine place. They've got jerky and stuff there. Our friends at the jerky. This is that... Yeah, it's like...
Like actual beef jerky?
Yeah. Yes. Like one of our friends
got it. You buy a bag of it or something?
No, it was just like a... big chunk of jerky and like a parchment paper holder.
I'm
intrigued, but like wondering why at the same time.
I mean, they sell turkey legs at Disneyland. That's just as weird.
Yeah, but it's yeah, okay. Yeah, it's true.
So they sell jerky there. We had a friend try it. She said it was okay. I wasn't too impressed, but I was really impressed. They have something called the Ronto Wrap, and it's basically like a flatbread taco. But they put like a hot dog, but the hot dog has a similar flavor to like a beef stick. So it's got a little bit of spice to it, but it's not spicy. It's just a lot of flavor. So they've got this hot dog that kind of tastes like foreign, and then there's this this coleslaw on it, and then it was either shredded pork or shredded turkey. I can't remember what it was, but it was like chunks of an additional meat on it.
It's like someone was just like, you know what? Let's just add this, and we'll add some of this.
Throw some coleslaw on it, and good to go.
It felt exotic, though.
Yeah.
And it was good. I liked it. And it had some sauce. There was some sort of weird, like, kind of sauce on it. It was good. That was, honestly, I mean, I haven't tried the other food yet, but I would highly suggest a Ronto Wrap.
So, did you, encompassing all of Galaxy's Edge, did you at any point feel like you were at Disneyland?
No.
It just felt like you were in a completely different location.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And I believe it, like watching these reaction videos and it's like, you know, I don't get a Disneyland vibe from this, which I guess I don't know how to feel about that, but it's not negative, it's not positive, but it's like props to Imagineers overall.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. Like the train goes by all the time. You know, it's just on the other side of that like little tiny like berm that they put, and you don't see anything.
No.
Do you hear it?
Never.
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's probably when they cue the spaceship base.
Oh, they cover up the train whistle with the
some
rumble.
extra
That might make a
sounds.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's thinking, Jordan.
It's sound design.
I should be an Imagineer.
Yeah.
You should.
No. Maybe. I don't know.
Who knows?
So I would just want to hear your 4-hour takeaway. If you could say anything about Galaxy's Edge, at least Galaxy's Edge in the upcoming month while the reservation period is still in effect, what would be the main thing that you would want to extend to our listeners here?
I would say don't stress about riding Smuggler's Run.
Okay.
You have plenty of time. If you wait an hour or two, you will definitely be able to get on the ride.
That makes total sense to me.
You have to say something different, though.
I know. I'm trying to think of a guarantee, but like the biggest thing that I learned, and it worked out well for us, but you kind of have to play it by ear because the lines are so long for the things like the cantina and the lightsaber experience because they're not very big locations. They don't fit a big capacity. And so if the cantina is really important to you, you can't get in line for it, you probably have to either sacrifice that in the at least for those 4 hours, or be treating it like a hawk and constantly just sort of walking by.
Okay.
But that would be really stressful. So I don't want to encourage anybody to be stressed out about it. But like when you're going in with the reservation system, I think you kind of just have to accept. You have to make a backup plan and like be ready for your backup plan because we had our main plan and our main plan was like pretty solid, and immediately it fell apart. Yeah.
That sounds like a day at Disneyland, though.
It's true, yeah.
You just
have
gotta
to be
go with
flexible.
it.
You can't, because you'll get really upset really quick. It'll bother you probably if you are like, I need to do all of it, because you're just not. It's not going to happen. It's just, at least during the reservation period, it's so hard. So just go in with flexible expectations, and you'll have a great time.
So
do you think this will pay off for Disney? Do you think it's going to be a success?
I said it after we left the park Saturday night. I said, how much do you think they just made off of today alone? Yeah.
I mean, per square footage, it's probably insane.
Knowing how many kyber crystals he bought, just like day one, I was like, great, okay.
He funded the Millennium Falcon building.
I heard somebody said this while they were behind me in line, and it's probably true. You shouldn't go to Galaxy's Edge with your credit card. You should probably go with a set amount of cash and be like, I'm going to spend X amount, and once that's gone, that's it.
Yes.
Because it is very easy. I mean, you should. There was a dude at one point in front of us that had I mean, it's not a good example. Had a wad of cash and was buying every painting on the wall. Thousands of dollars of paintings.
But that we were assuming we're assuming that he was purchasing them to resell them on eBay or something, which I think is just takes the magic and the fun out of it. But.
Sure, I mean, he could have been a huge fan too that just lost his mind.
Good for him.
Right. Either type of those personalities will have a blast at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah,
yes.
It's wild. It's a land that's definitely built for. It's maybe the first Disneyland that is. It feels like it's more built for adults than kids.
Yeah. I also think it's sort of an end of an era as we are in the Iger generation. The success of this, and it will no doubt be a success, but it completely changes going forward. I don't think we ever see another Disney attraction that's not linked to a certain IP. There's no more pirates or haunted mansions or tiki rooms. Those are all gone.
Probably.
with new franchises or even old franchises, fresh franchises.
Yeah.
Which
it's kind of sad.
It's sad in that way, but it's also, we're still getting quality. It's the same thing as I said before. It's I don't feel positively about it, but I definitely don't feel negatively about it. It's just, it is what it is.
No, for sure.
Iger. Yep.
No, he's done wonders. This episode has been brought to you by Disney Plus, coming this November, starring The Mandalorian and more Star Wars stuff, which will be in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
We are not sponsored by Disney Plus.
Yet. So those were your general final thoughts of the land. Why don't we attempt to wrap up the episode? But this is the end of the episode, but this is actually just it's the end of the episode, but it's really the beginning of Happy Place Explorers YouTube channel as we're officially launching this week. And so what are some things that we're going to be showcasing on the channel, at least this month as we're covering Galaxy's Edge? What are some things we can look forward to?
Well, we're definitely going to do a lot more Galaxy's Edge videos. We've already sort of been trying to get them out there. We'll be at Galaxy's Edge again next week, Saturday. We're going to try and, I don't know if we'll go live from it or not, but there'll definitely be more footage of that.
Cool.
We're going to do a series called Destination in Detail that'll sort of kick off with Galaxy's Edge coverage, where it'll focus on specific areas of the land. We've already shot a boatload of stuff, so it's just about getting that up and ready to go. A shipload,
Spaceship
thank you.
Load.
So that'll be there, and it'll be if you just feature like a whole video on the milk stand, a whole video on Smuggler's Run, and like how that's connected to the comic books and everything like that.
We got milk videos. We got milk videos. We got milk videos.
Okay.
All right,
This episode of the Ponderland
Podcast.
Podcast has been brought to you by Milk, nature's calcium
Nope.
in liquid
We're
form.
not sponsored by milk.
Milk is good, sponsored or not.
All right.
Yeah.
I think for me, what I want to make sure that we cover and show is tips and tricks for managing the parks with your family or with your friends if you're coming, especially for the first time. I mean, all of us are originally from the Midwest. The first time we went to Disney parks, it wasn't until, I was 17. You were in your 20s the first time we went to a Disney park.
We grew up on Wisconsin Dells. And when you put Wisconsin
grew up on
Dells,
Wisconsin Dells.
you put Mount Olympus next to Disneyland, it's...
Yes. So
It's
I just remember my first time going to a Disney park. I did it so wrong just because I didn't know. So I want to be able to give people those tips and tricks in order to plan whether it be their first Disney trip.
Yeah, I mean, she's right. That's going to be a big part of it. How to manage Max Pass, how to get into the park faster each morning, like just little things that we've learned along the way. And we're excited to share with you guys because it's changed our trips.
Yeah.
We get so much done now. So.
And we're going to be going all the way back to the Disneyland history.
Our history buff Jordan will be hosting a whole series called the Disneyland Chronicles.
Disneyland Chronicles. And what we're going to be doing is year by year, we're just going to be breaking down the main events that happened in that year. So I've been putting those together. It's been fun to just... we're starting at the beginning. We're not going to do it randomly. We're not starting in 1981. We're starting all the way at the beginning. So it's been cool, and it's been, even I'm learning stuff, and I thought I knew everything about this, but that's...
I thought you knew everything.
I watched the first episode, and I was shocked by how much I did.
I heard it going off in the background. I thought Joey had turned on some, History Channel thing on Disney, and then I noticed it was your voice, and I was like, oh!
It is very well put together.
Yes.
You're overselling it. So go in with leveled expectations. So definitely go to our social media, our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and things like that. We're all over social media, but mainly make sure you subscribe to us here on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button, and when you hit that subscribe button, little bell appears. Hit that. Then you'll always be able to go on tour with us when we explore the Happy Place. So I'm Jordan. Who are you?
I'm Michelle.
I'm Joe.
And we're the Happy Place Explorers, and until next time, we'll see you
in the Happy Place.